Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. We're here on Corellia in counter mode and I'm in the Comet Tier 7 British medium tank that comes along after the Cromwell when the cruiser tanks changed from light tanks to medium tanks. And before the British gave up on the cruiser concept with the Centurion and the Centurion line that finishes out that arm, that branch of the British tech tree. It is quite a while since I first played the Comet. It is the British tech trees being one of the early tech trees that I got anywhere in and made a lot of progress in, and the medium to cruiser line actually was one. Well, I didn't initially go up the cruiser line. I initially went up the heavy tank line and then up the heavily armoured tank destroyer line. But then I played Russian tanks for a while, mostly Russian heavy tanks, and I think I got up as far as the KV-4, and then I switched to the British cruiser tanks for a while as a kind of a relief. And the Comet, I think, is one of the first tanks that I started doing well in when I wasn't top tier. It's a tank you can do well in when you're bottom tier, as long as you're not trying to face down heavy tanks or heavily armoured tanks from the front. The gun is pretty decent. You've got a very rapid aim time. It's fairly good at snapshotting. It is a very accurate gun, which is one of the reasons that it's very good at snapshotting. And it's got a very rapid rate of fire, so you're not punished for snapshotting in the way that you might be with some other tanks. That said, it probably gave me the bad habit for over-relying on snapshots. But you could peak the ridgeline with this thing. You could use the gun depression, take snapshots against enemy tanks, and be fairly successful doing it. And the other thing was that initially, and at least in that time when I was playing it, the gun mantle was very strong on this tank. You could bounce pretty much anything, even tier 9 tanks, maybe not the tank destroyers, but certainly a lot of the tier 9 heavy tanks could bounce. You could get a bounce off the turret armour. Not all the time, but if you were lucky. With enough reliability to make it worth your while. I mean, I've had games where, in those days, where it bounced 2 to 3k damage off the turret of Comet. I don't think you'll get that kind of performance out of it now. There are more tanks in the game. A lot of them have better guns. So, and the turret front has been nerfed as well, so it's not as strong as it used to be either, as far as I remember. But it's still a good performing tank. The main thing with it is to try and get onto the flanks. Try and get onto the flanks, try and get onto ridge lines. Use the gun depression, use the distance, use the mobility of the tank. The tank is pretty mobile. It's not super fast or anything like that. So you have to keep an eye on the minimap. You have to realise you're in trouble before it happens. It's not a tank where you can use the speed and mobility of the tank to get out of trouble once you're in it. But if you can anticipate the trouble coming, you can use the speed and mobility of the tank to relocate to a better position, and again use the ridgeline fighting capability of this tank. You can do very, very well in it. It's well capable of high caliber. It's one of the first tanks I got a Lavishenko medal. It's the one where you're in a medium tank and you kill 2 tanks 2 tiers higher than you. Was it 2 tanks 2 tiers higher than you, or 2 heavy tanks that's 2 tiers higher than you? I can't remember. I know that I got it on Fisherman's Bay, killing an E75 and an M103. And I also remember that it was a complete fluke look, because at that point in time I didn't know the weak spots of an E75 at all. Nor for that matter was I able to make much of a headway against an M103 either. But they were going down through the town in Fisherman's Bay. I was on the central ridge line south of the village in the centre of the map, and I was bouncing shots off the turrets of these 2 tanks, mostly trying to distract them. I was trying to get them to look my way, because there was, I can't remember, a tortoise or something at the end of the village, and I knew if they turned the turret at all, the tortoise could nail them. And it's sometimes a successful tactic. I've used it before. I remember most memorably on Arctic region. I was playing in an MT-25. There was an E-75 holding up 3 of our tanks. In fact, he was winning. He was holding his own against three tanks that was my side, and I managed to sneak in behind him. It was kind of a suicidal position. As soon as he turned his turret to me, I wasn't going to get away from it. But I got a penetrating shot into the back of the turret, and he turned the turret without relocating so that he was out of line of sight of the three tanks in front of him. And as soon as he did, they just annihilated him. He did get me before he got annihilated, but he had the back and the side of the turret turned, and he just didn't survive the experience. So it's a tactic I've used in this tank as well, because it's got plenty of ammo, rapid rate of fire, and you're going to get the shots off, and you needn't worry about it too much. Now I pull in here, and I don't think I meant to come off into the low ground, but I come off into the low ground whether I like it or not, and I'm kind of stuck here now. I don't have much in the line of cover. That heavy tank behind me is not in any immediate position to support me, and well, I'm basically spotting for artillery. Also, the possibility of shooting the commander's hatch on the Tiger 1. Now, this tank is capable of penetrating the commander's hatch if I can land the square shot on it. The problem with the Tiger's commander's hatch, you got to get a center, and you can't be too high or too low. Neither of those will work either. But we have a T-34-85 coming in on me from the flank. Now, I'm actually in serious trouble here. If either of those came in on top of me, I think they would have killed me. But maybe not the T-34-85. I might have been able to take him, but certainly the Tiger, I think, would be in a position if he comes on top of me, I'm dead. I really need that heavy tank to come up here and proximity detect the T-34-85. The artillery is also not in a position to really shoot the T-34-85. They need to relocate to get a more sideways on shot, and there's no reason why not. We pretty much know where the enemy tanks are. The two of them are in front of me, and one of them is over there on the eastern side of the map. So the artillery could quite safely relocate over around C2 or something like that, and they would be able to get shots in. Now the Tiger makes a huge mistake here. He donks the shot into the ground, but the second mistake he makes is he just stays up there. If he actually came down, he would have finished me. I would have been certainly a one-shot kill for him. As it turns out, I wasn't a one-shot kill for the T-34-85, although I was damn close, and I'm not sure what he rolled either. It might have been even a bit of a low roll. No, it wasn't a low roll. I just went back there and checked it out and did the maths, and it was 138, which is pretty much the upper end of the roll for T-34-85. So I wasn't a one-shot kill to the T-34-85, no matter what way it would have been, but I would possibly have been a one-shot kill to the Tiger if he'd actually come in on top of me. And he was overcautious there. He could have finished me off, and that would have been a bit of a different game. The two of them together actually would have made it completely impossible for me to continue my existence, and that might have changed the game, because if they'd taken me out of the equation, I think the artillery will be then vulnerable to the IS over on the far side of the map, and well, I don't know if he'd have won, but he'd have had a better chance than he would have at this stage. The remaining tank, those two tanks are, well, the M4 is rather got a lot of hit points, but he's the kind of guy who's going for the cap circle, so he's not confident in his ability to take out a single lone IS on 60 hit points. If he's going for the cap circle. And the heavy tank that was behind me, is near me now, wasn't exactly confident in his abilities as well. He wasn't trying to rush up to assist me when I was facing off against the Tiger and the T-34-85. So, yeah, and the other two tanks would still have been alive. So it could have been a very different game there. All but for the want of a little bit more aggression on the part of the two guys that were facing me, and they would have been better off. So how does it all end up? We get 1600 damage, 920 assisted damage, first class mastery. And, well, we get quite a lot of experience. We have various things going on, and we have number 1 by experience. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and a share. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.